Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I am making quiche. Listen, I love me a good quiche, okay? You can mix and match the ingredients in it and make it your own. You can have it for breakfast because it's essentially just eggs and cheese with whatever else you put in there, or you can have it for dinner if you pair it with a little salad. Quiche is an anytime type of meal, so I'm going to show you how I make mine. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so let's get into these ingredients. I have heavy cream and whole milk, broccoli, I have Colby Jack and mild cheddar cheese. You can use any kind of cheese you want, Gruyere, Gouda. Honestly, I prefer Munster cheese, but we didn't grab that from the store. So we're rocking with what we got. I have onions, mushrooms, broccoli, eggs. I have bacon, thick cut bacon if you're using bacon. And I'm doing store-bought pie crust. You can make yours from scratch if you like, but mama don't got time for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and grease up my pan and add my pie crust to the pie dish. I'm gonna put these in the oven. I have my oven preheated at 350 degrees, and I'm gonna cook these pie crusts all the way through. I like to cook my pie crust all the way through because I feel like when you add the custard, the egg custard, into the raw pie dough, it doesn't like the crust isn't crispy all the way through, and you get soggy pie crust. I don't think that's tasty. Even if you have cooked the pie crust, I still find that you tend to get a soggy crust at the bottom. So you kind of avoid all that by cooking the pie crust all the way through and then adding your custard later. So now I'm just gonna go in and start chopping up my veggies. I have 2 medium-sized onions that I'm gonna dice, and once I diced these onions that were burning my eyes, I'm gonna go in with and chop up my mushrooms. So I'm gonna be using portobello mushrooms, little baby bella mushrooms, and you can honestly use any kind of mushroom you like. I would just recommend that if you choose to use shiitake mushrooms, if your ingredients kind of have a nice flavor profile to match with shiitake mushrooms, that you don't use a whole lot of them because they can be overpowering. They can easily overpower your dish if you use too many of them. So just keep that in mind. But you can use portobello mushrooms, you can use button mushrooms, you can use king oyster mushrooms, which I think will go really tasty in them if you brown them ahead of time. You can use, I don't know, enoki mushrooms. You can use the lion's mane. You can literally use any kind of mushrooms you like if you're a fan. I'm a fan of mushrooms, so load me up with them. So now, as you can see, I'm using frozen broccoli just because it's easier. They're already cleaned and partially chopped, but you can use fresh broccoli if you like. The only thing I would recommend that if you're using frozen broccoli, make sure you defrost your broccoli and drain the broccoli first. If you don't drain your broccoli, when you go to saute your vegetables, it's going to be a ton of water at the bottom of your pot, and you're going to have to drain your veggies. So not that it will mess up the recipe at all, it's just an extra step and it kind of prolongs the cooking process. So in order to avoid having to drain your veggies because of all the moisture that's coming out of the broccoli, just cook or defrost your broccoli and squeeze out as much water as possible. Okay, now I have my thick cut bacon that I got from the meat section at Wegmans, and I'm just gonna dice that up. And so I'm gonna do two quiche, I don't know, but I'm gonna do 2 of these things, and one is gonna have bacon, the other one is not gonna have bacon. So I'm gonna cook the bacon separately, but first I'm gonna start sweating down my vegetables, and I'm not gonna cook them until they're caramelized or anything like that. You don't want to cook them that long because we're still gonna bake them in the oven, right? So I'm just gonna sweat them down a little bit. I want the onions to get translucent. I like for the mushrooms to get a little bit of a chewier texture, and once that happens, like right now, I'm gonna go ahead and add my broccoli in. Now, I didn't drain my broccoli like I instructed you guys to do, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I say it's gonna be a ton of water at the bottom of my pot. See, already the mushrooms are sweating down, creating moisture at the bottom of the pot, and then I have this frozen broccoli that's just gonna add even more moisture, which I don't want. I don't want the extra moisture because I don't want it to ruin my egg custard, right? Because we're already adding milk to the egg, and too much liquid is going to cause your egg custard to not cook properly. It's going to be too runny. You don't want that. And so yeah, so you just saute your veggies down until they get to the desired texture that we're looking for, and then we move on with what we gotta do. And this is what I'm talking about, folks. It looks like a puddle. It pissed me off so much. I had so much water, so I had to strain my veggies and add it to a bowl. But as you can see, it didn't mess up the recipe or anything like that. It was just an extra step that I did not want to have to take, because listen, I'm trying to wrangle a little 8-month-old who loves to crawl everywhere while simultaneously cooking dinner and not chop off my fingers with sharp knives, and I'm cooking bacon that loves to pop people. It was just a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So don't be like me. Be better than me. Anywho, so I cooked my bacon. I'm making 2 quiche, one for myself and then one for my other family members that don't eat meat. And so ultimately, altogether, as you see, I'm adding the milk and the heavy cream. I did about 2 cups of milk, and I did a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. And then I'm going to go in with my eggs. Alright, and as for eggs, I'm going to be using 10. So you want to use 5 eggs for each quiche. Honestly, you could do 6 eggs for each quiche, but you know, I only bought 1 pack of eggs, and I needed some eggs for another recipe. So yeah, so I used 5 eggs, and it still came out great. So 5 to 6 eggs per 1 quiche. Alright, so I'm going to go in with about a tablespoon of Creole seasoning. You can use any Creole seasoning brand that you have. I'm going to use a teaspoon of black pepper and mix that up. And once that's nice and incorporated, I'm going to add my secret ingredient. Can you guess what it is? You have any ideas? No? No? It's nutmeg! Surprise! I am using about a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, and it doesn't ruin the flavor. It gives it a nice, like, sweet, subtle, nutty taste, which I really enjoy. So give it a whirl. Don't knock it till you try it. It's really, really tasty, especially if you use other types of cheeses. It was still good in this quiche for sure, but I mean, and with like Munster, sets it off. And now I'm gonna go in with my cheese. I'm gonna go in with 2 cups of cheddar jack, Colby jack, and then a cup of what is that? I did a cup of mild cheddar. And I'm going to save the last cup of cheddar to go on top of the quiche so that it gets all bubbly and cheesy at the top. So I'm going to scoop the veggies in first, because you know how when things are heavy and then they're in liquid, it settles to the bottom. So I'm scooping out the veggies and putting them in the bottom of the quiche. And then I'm just pouring the rest of the egg mixture custard on top. And yeah, then I'm going to top it with some cheese and throw it in the oven for about for like 30 minutes until that custard is cooked all the way through. Now this one is mine. Like I said, I have one that's going to have bacon and one that doesn't. So I'm just adding my bacon at the end, so that way I am not cross-contaminating the bacon juices with the quiche that does not want any meat or bacon affiliation. You know what I mean? After 30 minutes, you get this beautiful, delicious, cheesy, golden brown, crusty quiche that is full of ingredients. It's so filling. The pie crust was perfectly cooked. I feel like you guys should like and follow this video and my channel just on the strength of how delicious this quiche looks. When you cut into it, it holds its shape. Even after cooking for 30 minutes, the pie crust did not get overcooked. It did not burn. It was perfect. Also, don't talk about my little off-centered slice. I had the baby on one side, I was cutting with the other hand. But let's focus on how it maintains its shape. Yeah, look at how cheesy that is. Look at how full it is of just delicious ingredients. That's what I'm talking about. And this is what me and my son thought about it. Crushed it. And he don't even got no teeth. Well, that's all from me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.